So, hello, my name is Jacob Button, and my capstone is titled Farmopia. It is a farmers market online planning interface and application. My client was the Old Miami Business Association, and my advisor was Dr. Youngjun Yoon. So the problem, there isn't any web-based planning tool for planning farmers markets. There actually isn't any extant software for planning farmers markets, and the stuff that is even close to that, it's all very out of date and very expensive. Just the client can't do anything because what they're doing right now is they're planning everything on paper and it's inefficient and messy. So they wanted a software solution to this. So the solution is to build a web application, so it's based on a server, and that way any computer in my client's office can access the application, and it's accurate and effective. So basically the client can take the design on the screen and put it to a paper without any loss in positioning or any other information like that. So the methodology, basically, I had to learn how to make web applications. I didn't know anything about this beforehand. I knew some web design, but not very much. And so I spent most of the fall semester learning how to do that. Then during winter break, I built a prototype in a couple of weeks, and my client liked that. So I ended up building upon it in stages. At one point I had to completely redesign parts of it, but eventually got to the point where I could test all of it, and I wrote several dozen test cases so that I can make sure that each part of the software talks to the other part correctly. It's what my client wants and it's actually usable. So the tools to develop this. For the server-side language, I used PHP. For the web design, I used, of course, HTML5 and CSS3, the modern standards for web languages. Web design, and I used JavaScript and especially a library for JavaScript called jQuery to handle all the user interactivity. So all the dragging, the boosts, and stuff is accomplished using that. And I used MySQL for the database backend. For the primary tools used to develop this, I used Adobe Dreamweaver. And to write all the code and basically manage the site. And as a backup to that, I used something I learned in the web design course called Aptana Studio 3. As a backup to that, I use some other tools for like editing text and making images and stuff. And for the database management, I use something called PHPMyAdmin. Now the server this is developed on, originally I planned to host it on the web, but it became clear with my client that they couldn't afford the hosting costs, and they just didn't have the resources to effectively do that. So I discovered this open source server solution that you can download for Windows, Mac, and Linux that's free, and I use a portable version of it. And by the way, the software is called XAMPP. I use a portable version of it so I could develop it on an external hard drive wherever I was. And it's going to be delivered on an external hard drive, so basically all my client has to do is just drag the folder to the C drive and it runs without any installation or any special configuration needed. So what did I learn from the project? I learned that having a foundation in computer science can help you tackle types of projects you've never done before. I never built a web application to the scale, at least. And so I had to learn that, but because of the things that they teach at computer science courses like functions, loops, variables, classes, and object-oriented design, I was able to accomplish this without having to learn too much. I also learned how to work with clients in large projects, so basically I was responsible for every aspect of this project, between working with a client, working with an advisor, and I had to learn things like time management and all the things that come with a large project. So I want to thank these people. I don't have time to thank individually by name, but they all helped me a great deal, and without them, this project wouldn't have been possible. So, thank you very much for my capstone project. If you want, you can see me in room 164.